I have no say-so of how this roller coaster is built. I have no say-so of when the turns happen. I have no say-so of how low or how high this roller coaster gets. The only thing I have a say-so in is sitting in the seat and strapping in. Welcome to the third quarter, a podcast dedicated to leaving the past behind and shooting towards a much, much brighter future. I am your host, Ace, and I am very excited for today's pod. I have something in store for you that I really believe that this can transform your life. We are talking about letting go of limiting beliefs. That's what we're talking about today. I'm going to tell you why limiting beliefs are holding you back. And I'm going to give you a few tips to implement today to help shatter those limiting beliefs so you can go towards the person that you've always wanted to be. Before we get started with the episode, if you haven't done so yet, it would mean a lot to me and to this community. This is a community effort that the podcast reaches more people, the more that the community gets involved. So I just ask if you do one of three things. The first one would be leave a kind review. The second one would be if you could rate us 5 stars. And then the last one would be if you could share it with a friend, a family member, or someone that you love and care about. I just ask for one of those three things. Any one of those will help us out more than you know. So let's get into the episode. Limiting beliefs. What are limiting beliefs? Well, limiting beliefs, my friend, sound just like what I said. They are the beliefs that you have about you that are limiting. They are a cap that you're putting on yourself. You believe that you only can do this, or you only deserve that, or because how you were raised or how you were brought up or the community you gave in, or maybe the lack of resources you had, that you can only go so far. And it has gotten to the point where that belief system has bled into what you do on an everyday basis. So the limiting beliefs are the things that we believe about ourselves that are not true. Even if the experiences that we had are real, the belief system on the limit that we believe our experiences have put on us are not true. But we believe them and it feels true and real to us. Thus, it puts a block, it puts a barrier, it puts a hurdle, it puts a limit on how far we are willing to allow ourselves to go. And so what I hope at the end of this episode, that you're more self-aware of the limiting beliefs that you have. And maybe also, in addition to that, you're going to take some massive action to start to shatter those limiting beliefs and go out and conquer the world and be all that you were designed and created to be. All right. So I have had my fair share of limiting beliefs. I am not, an exception to the rule. I am someone that, grew up, like I've shared before, a people pleaser and someone that struggled with confidence and all the things in between. And so limiting beliefs for me is something that I really, really struggled with. And in one of the areas, has been, in terms of my ability to communicate, my ability to be a voice, to be a leader in the field that I'm called to be in. And when I started to share my social media, when I started to grow on TikTok, when I started to grow on Instagram, there was a lot of limiting beliefs there because as my audience was steady growing, I didn't feel I was worthy enough or I was good enough that justified the amount of followers that I had at that particular time. And so I had these limiting beliefs in my mind that I'm not good enough, you're not smart enough, you don't talk well enough, no one would actually want to see you speak in person. I got into coaching and consulting, no one would pay you for that. Like there were all like these caps that I put in my mind because it was new for me. This was a new territory for me. I wasn't familiar with this. I didn't ask for my social media to grow. I didn't try to make my social media grow. It kind of organically happened that way. So there were all these limiting beliefs and thoughts and voices in my head that was telling me I was not good enough. And when you're somebody that struggles with confidence, or maybe you're embarking in something new, or as you're listening to this, you're going through a transition, there's always going to be a part of the process that you struggle with, because when you're embarking in something new, you don't have a reference point of where you're going. So there is going to be a part of you that's unsure if you can really do this or not. You're going to be unsure if this is for you. You're going to be unsure if this is going to be safe. You're going to be unsure if you're actually going to get to that destination or to that desired outcome. That's just a part of the process. And what I've learned is whenever you're growing, whenever you're doing something that requires growth, when you're going to the gym, it always gets worse before it gets better. It always gets worse before it gets better. You don't lift weights and then immediately get muscles. You don't jump rope or run or jog or walk and then immediately you start to lose body fat. You get sore. You get tired. You get aggravated. You get frustrated. You get irritated because you got to eat certain stuff that you normally wouldn't eat. You've taken things out of your diet that you really enjoy. You have to wake up early to get in the workout before work. You got to stay up later because you got to get the workout in after work. Your friends are going out having a beer and you're like, you know what? This isn't something that I really want right now. So I'm just going to say no. So like there's a lot of discomfort in the early stages of the growth process. It's not success, it's pain. And so limiting beliefs usually is a sign that you are embarking on something that is requiring you to become greater than who you are right now, right? So growth and change is always going to work in you first, right? It's going to work on you before it works for you. The growth is going to work inside of you. It's going to work on top of you before it works for you. So when you are wanting to do something, like write a book, or maybe you want to start a podcast, or maybe you want to create content, or maybe you want to go back to school, or you want to change your health lifestyle. Maybe you want to ask someone out, or whatever the case is. The process of that is going to work on you first. Your character, your confidence, your belief system is what is going to be worked on first. And once you allow it to work on you, then the raising of your identity is now going to work for you. So having limiting beliefs is a sign that you're going in the right direction. Because in order to have a limited belief, you have to be facing something that you're not used to facing, right? When you're comfortable, you can't have a limiting belief because you're good here, right? There is no limited belief in the comfort zone. There's no limited belief when you are choosing mediocrity. There is no limiting belief when you're doing the things that you used to do, when you're in the familiar. There is no limiting belief staying in a relationship that's not ideal for you. The limiting beliefs come when there's like that switch, there's that thought that maybe there's something else. Maybe this job isn't for me. Maybe I should be writing that book. Maybe I should be single right now. Maybe, I think it's time for me to get my health in order. So when you are making a decision, or maybe even the light bulb is going off, that's when the limiting beliefs start. So if you're listening to this right now and you're like, Ace, I have so many limiting beliefs, like I sabotage everything that I think I can do. I want to say to you, good, congratulations, because The only reason why that limiting belief even exists is because you're flirting with change. You're flirting with growth. Your normal is not something that is appetizing to you anymore. You're being intrigued with something else. And so, my advice to you, my first tip in smashing the ceiling of limiting beliefs is lean into the limiting belief, which you might be saying, why would I lean into something that's negative? Why would I lean into the limiting beliefs? The reason why I say lean into it is because you have to go towards the thing that you believe you're limited in. So in order for your body to change, you don't lean into resting and not going to the gym because you're sore. You don't lean into, this is challenging. I'm overexerting myself. I'm not going to go to the gym for 2 weeks. You don't lean into the comfort. You lean into the discomfort. You run towards the discomfort, because the more that you get uncomfortable, the more your discomfort soon becomes your new comfort zone. So if you struggle to walk for 30 minutes, there's going to come a point when you continue to walk for 30 minutes that the 30-minute walk now becomes your new comfort zone, where it becomes easy for you. And now what you've done is you've created a new comfort zone where now 30 minutes was like your limiting belief. Now you shatter that, and maybe now it's 35 minutes, maybe it's 40 minutes, who knows? But the point of the matter is, the more that you run towards the discomfort and you lean into it, you slowly start to attack it and chip away at it. And what once was the thing that held you back is now the thing that's helping you propel forward. So it's imperative that you really get a grasp of this. The first thing you have to do when you have a limiting belief in whatever area it's pertaining to, that you lean into it, because that's a sign that you are inquiring about, there's something else for me, or there's another level for me to go to, or I've been settling here and I don't want to settle anymore. So the presence of a limiting belief is also the presence of awareness for growth. So my first tip in shattering a limiting belief is to lean into it and to run towards it, to create your new comfort zone, to create your new normal. Okay, that's number one. The second thing I would do is this. I want you to really hold on to this concept that confidence comes from trust. Confidence comes from trust. One of the reasons why I struggled with confidence in certain areas is because internally, I didn't trust myself with this specific thing. When you break down the word confident and you look at the root word, it means to confide in, right? Confide. And you only confide in people. When you look at your friendship circle or your family, you only confide in the people that you trust. You're not going to share, you ain't about to Forrest Gump, okay? You ain't going to sit on a bench and be like, Mama said life was like a box of chocolate, and you're not going to share your whole life story with a stranger. Like, you're not going to do that. That was a horrible impression, but you get the point. So when you confide in someone, that means you trust them. You trust them enough with personal information or your feelings or your heart, because you know you have their best interests and they have yours. So when it comes to self-confidence, if you're struggling with self-confidence, that also means you have a limiting belief in that area. So if there is an existing limiting belief, there also is a presence of low self-confidence in that area. And the reason why that confidence or lack thereof is there is due to the fact that you don't trust yourself enough in this area. So one of the ways that you can get better at something is through repetition. When you do something more often on a continual, consistent basis, you then start to develop it into a muscle, just like working out. You can't go to the gym once a week and expect your body to change. You can't go to the gym once a week and expect muscles to grow and you to get in better shape. Now, 1 time a week is better than no times a week, but 3 times a week is better than once a week. 4 times a week is better than once a week. The more consistently you go, the more repetition you do of something, the better the chance of that muscle developing becomes. And when you prioritize repetition, when it comes to whatever this particular thing is that you're struggling in with limiting beliefs, when you show up for yourself day in and day out, you start to become more confident. The reason why you're confident is due to the fact because you're consistent and there's a lot of repetition. So my second piece of advice for shattering limiting beliefs is whatever that limiting belief is, whatever area that's pertaining to, we got to get repetitions of this thing. So if you have a limiting belief of communication, of speaking in public, it's going to start with you little by little speaking in front of people, whether it's sitting your friend down that you can confide in, someone that you can trust, and giving them a 10-minute speech in front of them. Start with one person. It could start with when you go to the gas station and normally you would say, let me get 50 on pump 8. You would ask the person that's at the register how their day's going. Like develop a conversation with them. Get in the habit of speaking in front of people. And that's going to allow you to be more comfortable. And I'll tell you this, when it comes to speaking in front of people, this is off script here, but when it comes to speaking in front of people, one of the best ways that you can get better at communicating to people is listening to people. When you listen to people, when you ask more questions and you listen more, they provide the context for you to deliver the content. So instead of just telling people what you think they want to hear, which now puts us in a mind space that this is about me, I'm going to tell you what I think is dope. No one wants to listen to someone that is only talking about what they are interested in. They're coming to you because you're talking about what they're interested in. So the more questions that you ask, the better you get at asking questions, and the better you get at listening is going to increase your strength in communicating because you'll know exactly what to communicate about. Does that make sense? Okay, so that was off the script. But back on the script, putting yourself in an environment where you're getting repetitions of something is going to give you more confidence because now you're trusting yourself now. You've seen yourself do this thing over and over and over again, right? When I work with kids on the basketball court and they're struggling with the move, when I was working with my 8 and 9-year-olds, it's all repetition. All practice is repetition. That's it. I don't care about plays. We're developing skills. What good is knowing plays if you don't have the skills? So all we're going to do, we're going to do the drill over and over and over again. And to the kids, it's boring, but to their growth, it's necessary. They don't know what I know. They want to have fun, and we're going to have fun. But if you want to get better as a player and be confident in your ability to perform when it's game time, what we do in practice has to become second nature. One of the main reasons why we struggle with limiting beliefs is because we don't trust ourselves enough to do the thing. So there's a lack of confidence there. Shattering limiting beliefs is about getting confident in the thing that you believe is limiting you. So what once was limiting you has now become a strength of yours. All right. So the second tip is you have to get repetitions. Repetitions, repetitions, repetitions. So whatever that thing is, I want you to think about this. When you go home or whatever it is that you go, where this thing is at, I want you to commit to today being the first day of getting reps in. If it's writing, start writing. Don't worry about what to write. Just pick up a pen and write. If it's going to the gym, if it's moving your body, go for a 20-minute walk. Like, commit to the first rep. And then when tomorrow happens, you commit to another rep. Sometimes it's not about having a plan. Sometimes it's just about showing up and just doing a rep. And then the more consistent with the reps, then you can start to trust yourself with the plan. So the final tip I have for you is this. So once you get to the place where we talked about, that limiting beliefs is a sign that you're headed towards growth. You want to lean into that. Then you want to start to get reps in whatever that thing is, right? So we want to lean into the discomfort, and then we want reps in the discomfort. So if you're afraid to go to the gym, we need reps in the gym, okay? The last thing is you want to be able to enjoy it. And I know that sounds crazy. Like, why would I enjoy something that I suck at? Like, why would I enjoy something that I feel compromised in? Well, when you look at it from this point of view, that the fruit of you doing this is now going to become a tool in your tool belt that you can use however you need to progress in your life. When you realize that, man, like once this no longer is a limiting belief, this is going to make me even more free. When you realize like the decisions that you're making on an everyday basis is inching you closer and closer to knowing who you really are and also having more freedom, you start to kind of look forward to this thing. It's like there's a place in Ohio, I think I talked about it before, but there's a place in Sandusky, Ohio called Cedar Point. And Cedar Point has the home of the first roller coaster ever built. And it's just nothing but roller coasters and water rides. It's a landmark, right? The first time I went on a roller coaster, I was scared. I was like, I got to strap into this thing. We're going how high, how fast? Like, I did not want to do that. Like, I want my feet on the ground. The scariest part of being on a roller coaster for me is the going up part, because you're going up slow and it's and you're looking, the higher you get, you're looking at, there's the car, like the people look like ants. You see skyscrapers. You're like, this is the close to God as I'm ever going to be. And that first drop is excruciating because you think you're about to hit the ground. But then when you go on the ride and you just submit to it, and you let the ride do what it's supposed to do, I have no say-so of how this roller coaster is built. I have no say-so of when the turns happen. I have no say-so of how low or how high this roller coaster gets. The only thing I have a say-so in is sitting in the seat and strapping in. And the interesting part is once my first roller coaster experience ended, I wanted to do it again. Like, that's how it works. Once you commit to it and you submit to it and you do it, you want to do it again. And then the next time you do it, yeah, it's still kind of scary. Yeah, it's still bothersome. But now you enjoy it more because you know what's coming now. You know, all I got to do is just get past and then it's all good. And then you want to do it again. And then once you ride that roller coaster enough times, then you want to go to a bigger, more bolder one. And then what happens? You got to restart but now I have a new comfort zone now because I went through on a smaller one. Now I can do on a bigger one. And so the point that I'm making is Yes, it's going to be challenging. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be something that you have to get used to, but damn, it's going to be fun too. And once you allow yourself the freedom to roll with the punches, you're going to enjoy the process a whole lot more. All right? So if you want to shatter limiting beliefs today, you got to commit to these 3 things right now. The first one is you got to lean into it. Lean into the discomfort. Lean into the limiting belief. The second thing is you need repetition at what that limiting belief is. You got to get reps. You got to build enough consistency that you trust yourself in this area. It's not foreign to you anymore. Okay? And the last thing is strap up and enjoy the ride. Yeah, it's going to be bumpy. There's going to be turns. There's going to be highs. There's going to be lows. But at the end, when it's over, you're going to be so grateful that you did. I hope this episode blessed you. I love you so much. If anybody came in mind during this episode, please share it with them. Listen, man, have fun, enjoy your life, but lean into the discomfort because that's where the freedom resides. It's on the other side of your discomfort. I promise you that. I love you so much. Be safe, be blessed, and thank you for listening to the Third Quarter Podcast.